Good afternoon, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this afternoon, sister of slain taxi operator Winston Walters shares her family's pain as the Collymore murder trial nears a conclusion. Carrie-Ann Walters revealed that she sat in the home circuit court on Monday with mixed emotions. Had her brother Winston Corey Walters not been gunned down on January 2, 2018, along with Simone Campbell Collymore, he would most likely have been celebrating his 43rd birthday with his family on Monday. But even as she endured the pain of that absent milestone, Carrie-Ann Walters said that listening to prosecutor Andrea Martin Swaby delivering the state's closing arguments in the murder trial of Simone's husband Omar, along with co-accused Michael Adams, Shaquilla Edwards, and Dwayne Pink, gave her confidence in the Crown's case against the four men. We more than have faith that justice will be served, and so far prosecution is doing more than a good job, Walters told the news after court recessed for the day. I am the older sister of Winston. If he was still alive, he would be 43 years of age. The feeling is not good. The family is not doing good. I haven't spoken to his wife from morning, but I know she is not doing well. I spoke to her mom and she was breaking down. Nobody at all is taking it well. Really and truly, Winston was the vibrant one of the family. We could call on him for any and everything. To sit in court today and to hear some of the things that happened, it really hurts. As a matter of fact, Corey didn't deserve to go like that. Neither did Simone, she said. It really hurts, knowing that today would be his 43rd birthday. It's not easy. Sometimes he would come by and celebrate it with us. And on a weekday like today, he would stay home with his wife and kids. But on the weekend, he would come by our house and we all have a grand time. For 6 years, nothing like that has happened. We wanted to put on something today, but his kids are not here and neither his mom. It is painful, but we are planning a time to accommodate everybody. We were supposed to go by his grave today, but we couldn't go because of the heavy rain. His son said they will be coming in June, so maybe at that time we will come together and do something then, she added. The prosecution has argued that Collymore put out a hit on his wife so he could claim life insurance benefits worth approximately $100 million. He allegedly contracted Adams to have Simone murdered, while Edwards and Pink were said to have participated in and assisted with the plot. The murders were committed by two men who hopped from motorcycles before pumping bullets into the taxi driven by Walters. The two men were Wade Blackwood, who is serving time for the crime, and the now deceased corporate area don from Brook Valley who went by the name Jim. On Monday, in her closing arguments, Martin Swaby recounted damning evidence that emerged during the trial and painted Collymore as a liar for claiming during his testimony that he was unaware of the value of two multi-million-dollar life insurance policies taken out for himself and his wife. She also drew attention to the fact that on the day of his wife's funeral, Collymore had boarded a plane destined for the United States, which he referred to as home. She stressed that he was remorseless and that even during his testimony, he pretended to cry and to show emotions. Who signs an application for an insurance policy in July of 2017 in 6 different places and says, I don't know anything about even my insurance policy? That is disgraceful. The insurance agent said that this was not an everyday run-of-the-mill policy. It was a massive policy, and more importantly, it was identical to his wife's policy. You, the members of the jury, became acquainted with Simone Campbell Collymore during this trial through the varying voice notes and text messages. Do you for one moment think that Simone never discussed the details of her policy with her husband? Do you for one moment think that the manager who came here never discussed the details with Mr. Collymore? Do you think for one moment that Mr. Collymore was being truthful when he said he knew nothing about the policy? Martin Swaby said. Using scripture, the prosecutor likened the Collymore to a wicked man who was trying to flee a situation even when no one pursued him. Who boards a plane on January 27, 2018, the day of their wife's funeral? I asked Mr. Collymore if he knew it was the day of his wife's funeral, and he had the gall to say no, he did not. This is your dear wife, who you say you are her protector. You said I love you dearly. Even when people break up and divorce, you know the day of your ex-wife's funeral, especially when they have children. I asked you where you were going, and the answer, ladies and gentlemen, was profound. He said I was going home. The day your wife lay in a casket, and your 80-year-old and your 5-year-old were there to mourn her death, Where is home? Where could home be? What Omar Collymore orchestrated, engineered on January 2, 2018 in Jamaica land we love, he thought he could slip away, she said. Proverbs 28 verse 1 says, the wicked flee when no one pursues. This was the day when everybody is caught up with giving her a dignified burial. By the time that funeral started at 1 p.m., you would have been in Miami, which you call home. Who does this? A murderer, she said. It even gets worse, because now Omar Collymore, the drowning man, knows by the 27th of January that he cannot leave the island by air because something was in place to prevent him from fleeing by air. On the 8th of February 2018, in the early hours of the morning, a sergeant phoned Omar Collymore at a guest house in Junction in St. Elizabeth. He said he was just waiting for his lawyer to take him in. She continued. His lawyer at the time was Christopher Townsend. So you're telling me that Christopher Townsend was going to jump in his car from Kingston and then drive to Junction to pick you up and take you to the police? Does that make sense to you? Even worse, he said he went to the guest house in Junction to rekindle memories of his wife. Members of the jury, who gives evidence for 2.5 days in the witness box, speaking about their wife they loved dearly, and manufactured 5 sniffs and then, with the drama presentation, sought to wipe something from the corner of their eyes. If that is not fake, I don't know what is. Other witnesses who were in the witness box for shorter periods than you could hardly string a sentence together without crying. When Wayne Campbell gave evidence in this matter, and he said he went to Tranquility Funeral Home that night to look at his daughter, he held on to the witness box and the big man cried, Martin Swaby said, pointing out that witnesses testified that while at a Constant Spring police station on January 2, 2018, while others were crying, Collymore's behavior had been normal. They were in shock and were devastated, she said. Martin Swaby should complete her closing argument today when the trial continues. Government paying out more to interdicted civil servants than reported, union says. The Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions and the Jamaica Civil Service Association say the government is paying out far more to interdicted civil servants than has been reported. It is believed that $81 million in pre-tax basic salaries have been paid to 7 public officials who have been suspended from their roles while an investigation is ongoing. JCTU President St. Patrice Ennis says that the figure underreports the full extent of the issue.
It does include some persons from my unions who are currently on interdiction. So the figure that is counted is much more than 7. I would suggest that it's probably a lot more because these things happen quite often. Because the interdiction is also used as a punitive measure. If you can take such a position, have the person out for many years, some even as up to 12 years, and perhaps more. And so we have persons interdicted for years. I said there are the numbers that we hear or we read about in the Sunday paper is not an exhaustive list. There are others. And so the amount of money that the government expends on these circumstances is much more than what was quoted.
Tesha Clark Griffiths, president of the Jamaica Civil Service Association, said her organization has been involved in multiple cases that have been dragging on for more than a decade.
If you take a deep delve into those cases that have been pending for more than 10 years, you would realize that we are far more than $81 million. I mean, I can tell you, I currently have 8 cases. One lasts for 12 years. I have an 8-year case. And over the period of time, the JCSA would have had many. And if you look at the smaller cases, there are, and I mean smaller in terms of the persons who are involved and the various positions. If you accumulate that sum over the other unions, you'll find that the government is spending millions of dollars on these things. And we are talking about persons who are not actively in production and employment.